gentlemen, presenting the 59,000 mile 2003 Accord Coupe V6 6-speed. But wait, 59,000 miles or 1,059,000 miles? Because I have a secret to tell you, and this car has been around the globe more times than I probably want to count. In fact, it drove all the way from Corpus Christi, Texas to Phoenix, Arizona yesterday, roughly 19 or 20 hour stretch, and did not skip a beat. So presenting to you the V6 6-speed Hondas with a combined 1.6 million miles on them, plus headed out for a dinner or a lunch cruise today with some other fellow Honda and Acura enthusiasts, and can't wait to see how these two high mileage cars perform. So Justin, thanks for being part of the action, and welcome to Arizona. I am not worthy of this moment, but I'm driving the 1,059,000 mile Honda Accord Coupe V6 6-speed EX. What a ride. Justin and I are going to have a Q&A this afternoon where we'll talk about everything he's done to this car. He's had incredibly good luck with it. The original motor, which I know everybody, first thing you're going to ask is an original drivetrain. The engine was replaced at 1,015,000 miles. And I ended up next to or behind a twin. Here's our lunch destination called the Horny Toad Bar, Patio, and Restaurant. Line them up. Anthony's 89 Civic DX made a friend. Lambo Urus. Gonna break up the group now and work our way back to Central Phoenix. This place really filled up. It's a good thing we got here when we did, because we lucked out and got all these spots parked together. There's the V6 6-speed twins, AKA the 6-6 gang. Nice looking pair of rides. He's taking a new Honda home, guys. You're good. Today we are privileged to have two special guests with us. We have, first of all, a 2003 Honda Accord Coupe, and then we have my friend Justin from Texas, who drove all the way here to Phoenix just to be in this place. And of course, we get to feast our eyes on what is a very special Accord Coupe. So first and foremost, Justin, thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Why is your Accord so cool?
Because it's a 6-speed.
Okay, get to the heart of the matter.
There you go. So it's a 2003 Accord V6 6-speed, and it's got currently 1,059,000 miles on it.
This car, we'll have to do the calculation on that, how many times around the globe this thing has traveled, but it is a well-traveled machine, to put it lightly. So the long story short, if you're familiar with Justin, he goes by TX Accord on Instagram and on YouTube. Anybody who's a diehard Honda fanatic has likely heard of this car over the last few years, particularly because the million-mile achievement that he logged a couple years ago. And so now I kind of wanted to set the stage, invite you to follow his channels, and then also get a chance to drive it myself, which I did this morning, and it was an unbelievably cool experience to be. It's actually the highest mileage car I've ever driven, so there's that. Um, so the backstory, it is an '03, and it's been in your family since brand new,
Since
correct?
brand new. Pensacola Honda, when my wife and I were dating, she bought off the lot, brand new.
Yeah.
Can't remember if it had 10 or 11 miles on it, but
Wow.
whatever it had.
Yeah, and ever since then, it's been put through more than just daily use. This thing, for as a matter of fact, I asked Justin what was his highest mileage year. 140,000 miles in a year. You can put that in perspective. Some cars only do that in a lifetime. Um, anyway, this car was used primarily in and around Texas for your delivery biz. So tell us about, how did you rack up that many miles?
Okay, so I was doing medical deliveries for about 8 years, delivering medicine to nursing homes and transferring material between hospitals, and samples of blood, things like that. Just everything medical related, hauling in the car. And excuse me, the more I did it, the more years I did it, the more miles I seemed to acquire. They kept giving me more and more work, and at the end it just got unbearable to continue. But that's how I got the majority of it in 8 years.
Crazy. So J30, obviously this is what they call the 6.6 in the Accord community, 6-speed V6 manual. And it's a robust powertrain, as many of you already know. The original engine was maintained to the tune of like oil change intervals upwards of 15,000 miles, Justin was telling me. And then the biggest question people always ask is it the original engine? So briefly tell the story about kind of what came to be with the car's original drivetrain.
Okay. So the first major thing was at 320,000 miles, had to replace the transmission. It developed a little grind going into third gear. So changed that out with a junkyard transmission from a salvage car. And so that's still in here now. The transmission in here now actually has real close to 800,000 on it. And then the original engine at 920, well, once I got past 500,000 miles, I started noticing increased oil usage. And so, the longer that went, the worse the oil burning got. But then at 920,000 miles, I was driving down the road one night and the car started shaking. So I pulled over, nothing was leaking underneath, took it to the shop. They did a leak down test of the engine, figured out that the number one cylinder had no compression. And so it was running on 5 cylinders at that point.
Yeah.
I'd lost an exhaust valve. So I asked my mechanic if he thought I could make it to 1 million miles or not. And he said, well, there's no reason not to try.
Yeah.
So that's what
5
we did.
cylinders.
Yeah. So for 95,000 miles, I drove this thing on 5 cylinders and horrible gas mileage, not a whole lot of power, but it made it.
That is amazing. So the cool part about being able to showcase this car, it received a well-deserved restoration after that milestone. It's got a fresh coat of paint, newly reupholstered interior. I mean, this thing, if you just looked at it without knowing any backstory, you would guess that it has the mileage showing on the odometer, which is 59,000. That's kind of an interesting story in itself. Those of you who, I don't know if anybody in my subscriber base has achieved 1 million, but on a digital Honda odometer, it sticks at 999,999. And the triple roll can consistently reset, but Justin decided to swap the cluster for a brand new unit at 0 miles. And so he has actually engineered, with some friends' help, a way to power up the original cluster at car shows so he could show that all 9s across the board. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it's really, really cool.
So
Jordan Distributors, JDI, did that for me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We're going to invite our cameraman to kind of do an overview of the car while Justin and I keep bantering here. But I had to ask him, just because I'm a high mileage warrior myself. I love logging time on the road. And one of the things that helps me get through it, to pass the time, is a good playlist. So I have an iPod Classic with 80,000 songs on it. What in the world do you listen to for all these many, many hours on the road?
So the best mod I did to the car was Sirius XM radio. Mm-hmm. So I listened to Octane most of the time. Nice. So some of the heavier channels, Octane, Turbo. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
It gets you down the road.
Yeah, definitely. Keeps you awake.
Yeah, and just to give a preview to those people who might want to see the car in person and meet you, tell us about the shows that you're planning to attend in 2025.
Really, the only show I've taken this to is the H-Day show in Maryland. So it's coming up April 11th through 13th, 2025. It's at Maryland International Raceway in Budds Creek, Maryland. So I'll be there all 3 days. So that's coming up here in
Yeah.
just a few weeks.
And that one for you is 1,600 or so miles each way.
That's right.
Yeah. And so I have to ask, just in terms of like future plans with the car. I mean, obviously you're not striving toward another million miles, but at this point, are you just kind of enjoying it as it comes, and just liking to show the car and promote the achievement?
Pretty much. I definitely looking forward to hitting 1.1 million, and then the highest Honda that I know of online has 1,165,000 miles. So I kind of got that in my eyes as well.
Remind me what the backstory. Who owns that one, and what is it?
That one is owned by, I believe the guy's name is Rodney Beatty, but I believe he passed away.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure a couple years ago. I think late 2023 was the last story about that, and I believe his son was going to keep driving it. But that's the highest known mileage Honda
Period.
Period.
Wow. Amazing.
So well, I'm definitely going to try to surpass that.
Yeah. Ed, you're well on your way. Just to put it into context, this thing drove, 1,250 miles, just like it was that. And complete with, now, obviously, the mechanical work has been done, the cosmetical work has been done. Like, is there anything even left that's on your checklist in the short term?
Well, right now it's getting close to needing to set tires, and then my right front ball joint, lower ball joint's making some noise, so I'm going to swap those out when I get home. I already had those. I knew it was coming, but on the way here, it let me know that it's time. Yeah.
Last but not least, because you've been around the country on these road trips and things, what's your favorite road to drive in a 6-speed manual V6 Honda?
Probably the prettiest road that I've driven this. We used to live in Whidbey Island, Washington, a town called Oak Harbor. Highway 20 running north out of there by Deception Pass Bridge. Totally picturesque. It's one of the most beautiful highways in the country, in my opinion. So yeah,
I'm going to Google that. Have to make a trip to the Pacific Northwest one of these days.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. We're going to enjoy having some Honda chat with some other friends that joined for the day. We did a road trip up to Cave Creek, about 30 miles north of town, for lunch, and just kind of enjoying the Honda chat. So as always, thanks for checking us out. Here's a quick look at the interior here. There's the odometer I was promising to show you guys, but you notice the little one next to the 59,000 showing that this car is in excess of the mileage odometer allowed reading there. You made it. Entering the Pavilions car show. This is an every single Saturday night show over here in Scottsdale. Civic Type R, the original.